Hello there. Hello, yogis. My name's Cathy. Thank you for practicing with me tonight. I'm really happy to share my practice with you. I'm hoping to do some twists tonight and get us into a side crow. So we're going to need a block or some kind of firm pillow maybe, or even like a tennis ball would work, something that we can use when we're doing our core work. So go ahead and reach for your prop, and then we're going to meet on our backs. So come onto your back. Make sure your prop is handy. Just start with either the knees bent or the legs long. Rest your hands on your belly and close your eyes. So just taking some time here to connect with the breath. Beginning to let go of anything that happened before and any thinking of what might happen after. Just allowing yourself to be present, noticing each breath. Just allowing yourself to soften and be still for a few moments. So with your next few breaths, start to bring some easy movement back into the body. So maybe reach and extend long through arms and legs. Stretch long and reach through fingers and toes like you're waking up from a nap. Maybe hug the knees in and rock and roll a little bit. A little gentle spinal massage. And release your feet to the mat with your knees bent and reach for your prop. Place that prop between the thighs, pretty high up there. And we want to make sure that that prop has a little bit of give to it. We don't want it to be too firm or too rigid. So walk the feet in just a little bit closer to the sit bones. Rest your hands next to your thighs. Turn your palms down. And so just take a few breaths here and really squeeze into that block with the thighs. And just sort of notice what happens when you do that. So as you squeeze the block or the prop, you might feel like the low belly is starting to fire up a little bit, maybe even drawing down towards the earth. And so notice that sensation. Keep squeezing the block. And go ahead and float off your heels, just coming to your tippy toes, and then maybe walk the toes in a little bit. Again, give a squeeze into the block. Hollow out the low belly a little bit. Good, so keep all that. Now float your feet completely off the ground. Maybe start to parallel the shins to the earth. Splay out the toes. Keep squeezing the block. Maybe try to draw the knees in a little bit so that they're stacking over the hips. So with your next inhale, get really long through the spine, and then as you exhale, reach the arms up, and then just curl the upper body up like you're reaching towards your toes, barely lifting the head and the shoulders off the mat. As you exhale, we're going to release back to the earth with our head and our shoulders. And then as you exhale again, reach to your right, to the outside of your right leg, reaching beyond your right knee. Inhale back to the earth. Exhale to center. Inhale back to the earth. Exhale to your left, reaching beyond your left knee. Inhale back to center. Exhale up to the middle. Exhale back. Coming to your right, and then releasing back, finding center. So just sort of moving here with your own breath. Exhaling as you curl up, inhaling as you release back to the mat. If you mess up the order a little bit, let it go. Just trying to find a rhythm here with the breath, finding that balance between effort and ease. So staying soft, maybe in the jaw, the face, around the eyes. So let's do one more through each. Right, middle, center, or right, middle, left, excuse me. And then come back. All the way back to the earth. Release your toes, release your feet. Go ahead and set that block aside. We will be using it again in a few moments. But go ahead and send the knees wide with the soles of your feet touching in a Supta Baddha Konasana. Once again, place your hands on your belly. Close your eyes. And take some nice big deep breaths here. Let that inhale really stretch through the abdominal muscles. And then with your exhale, just soften, soften, soften. Just a few easy breaths. Go ahead, release your hands at your sides and tee them out wider. Bring the soles of your feet back to the earth with your knees bent, but go wide through your feet. So walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat, and then just start to windshield wiper knees, right to left, left to right. And so the next time your knees are on your right, let them stay there. Take a breath with your knees sort of staggered. And then bring that left knee all the way on top of your right knee, deepening your twist. Take your right hand on top of your left thigh or left knee, and then get heavier through your left shoulder. Maybe even tuck your left shoulder under a little bit, opening through the chest, and turn your head to the left. 2 or 3 full breaths here. As you inhale again, float both knees up. Plant both feet wide again. And then wait for your next exhale to drop both knees to your left. And again, they're going to start staggered. Stay for a moment. And then we'll deepen this twist, stacking that right knee completely on top of the left knee. And then bring your left hand on top of your right thigh. And we'll tuck that right shoulder under a little bit there, really open through the chest. And then take your gaze to the right. Again, 2 or 3 full breaths here. And as you inhale, float both knees. Then you can either choose to rock and roll along the length of your spine to seated, or roll to one side to press yourself up to seated. Either way, meeting in seated. And then just checking that you have your prop still handy, we're going to transition to hands and knees. So from hands and knees, we're going to take that prop and we're going to slip it once again between the thighs. So just going to do a quick check-in that the front of that prop is not too far beyond the front plane of your thighs. We kind of want it to be out of the way. So if it's a ball, just make sure it's tucked in there. If it's a block, make sure the end is sort of sticking out at the back of your thighs. And then come back to hands and knees. And just like when we were on our back, we want to give that block a big squeeze in. And then here you might feel the belly pull up and in. You might even feel a widening through the sacrum as you do that motion. Really plant those hands, spread your fingers. We're going to curl the toes under and then just float the knees an inch or two off the mat. Just a simple movement. We're going to hold here, squeezing the block. Widen through the collarbone, soften your heart a little bit. Keep squeezing that block. And then we're going to extend or lengthen both legs back into our plank pose. Keep squeezing the block. Maybe float the hips a little higher than you think you need to. Give a big squeeze into the inner thighs. And then bend the knees just a little bit. We're going to press the sit bones up and back into our down dog. Keep squeezing the block. Melt the heart, press the heart back, press the hands forward. And let's shorten our down dog a little bit. So walk the toes in a few paces. Let those knees be a little bit more bent now. We're going to anchor our left hand in the earth, and then we're going to reach the right hand underneath us to the outside of our left leg. Take a little twist, tuck yourself under that left arm a little bit. Keep squeezing the block. Maybe pin your left hip back a little bit. And release the right hand. Anchor that right hand, soften for a moment. And again, with those knees slightly bent, our shorter down dog, we're going to take that twist to the opposite side. So plant that right hand, reach the left for the outside of your right leg. Give a little tuck under, squeeze the block, and then maybe pin this right hip back a little bit. Create some space. And then release the left hand. Anchor both hands. Go ahead and float your heels and then release your knees towards the mat. Find that hover again. Squeeze the block. And then drop your knees. Go ahead and set your block aside, and we're going to melt back for a few breaths into our child's pose. And so just finding a few easy breaths here. So from child's pose, let's create some space through the sides of our waist. So begin to walk both hands around to the right side a little bit, kind of floating around that right thigh. And then reach your left fingertips even further away from you. And if you can, pin your left hip back a little bit. Get a little heavier through the left sit bone, left hip, left glute. As you inhale, walk yourself back to center, and then shift to hands and knees. So we're going to line up knees under hips, wrists under shoulders, and then we're going to thread the needle on that left side. So inhale, left arm floats, and then exhale, thread the left arm underneath. Drop your left temple to the mat, and then stack your right hand on your left hand. Really press the hands together and peel the right side back a little bit. Feel your right shoulder start to stack on your left shoulder. With your next inhale, float that right arm straight up. And exhale, release the right hand all the way back to the mat. Float yourself up, left arm out wide, and then left hand back to the mat. Let the knees go wide, big toes to touch, melt back to child's pose. As you inhale, start to walk your way over to the left in your child's pose. Kind of hovering around that left thigh, and then walk your right fingertips even further away. Pin your right hip back. If you can, send your breath into that whole right side. Expand, expand, lengthen, lengthen. As you inhale, walk yourself back to center, and then make your way back to hands and knees. Check your alignment, knees and wrists, stacking our joints. And then we're going to thread the needle. So right arm floats up, and then exhale, thread it underneath. Drop your right temple to the mat. We'll start by stacking our hands and really pressing the hands together, rolling that left shoulder open. And then as you inhale, left arm's going to float up to the sky. As you exhale, release the left hand, unwind that right arm, and then right hand back to the earth. So from hands and knees, make sure you have your block or even a book or something that could give you some extra lift handy. And from hands and knees, we're going to step our right foot forward, coming into a low lunge. So we might be able to wiggle the left knee back a little bit, kind of drop into this lunge. Give a big, big hug into the inner thighs and then float both arms up. Interlace your fingers, or excuse me, just your thumbs. Interlace your thumbs. Fan out the rest of your fingers. Float the arms back a little bit. Maybe lift your heart a tiny bit. Tiny, tiny back bend. And then we'll take a little C curve to our left, so away from the bent front knee. And you can stay right here for the next couple breaths, or deepen a little bit, dropping that left hand to the earth, or maybe a block, and then reaching the right arm even more to the left. So making a transition smoothly here, we're going to inhale, float that right arm up, and then reach it back to plant on our sacrum. The left hand's going to kick to the outside of our right knee. We'll take a little twist to our right. Use that right knee and left arm as leverage, kind of pressing into one another. As you inhale, untwist, float both arms up, and then exhale, release the hands to the mat. We're going to shift the hips back a little bit and then just tuck our right knee under. So same thing on the second side. Maybe move your prop if you want to use that. And we'll step the left foot forward. And then create some space, so maybe wiggle that right knee back a little bit. Big hug into the inner thighs to create some stability, and then we'll sweep both arms up. Settle the shoulders, interlace the thumbs and fan out the fingers, reach up and back a little bit, open your heart. And then a little C curve to your right. And then you can stay or choose to deepen, dropping that right hand to the earth or your block. And then left arm reaches even more over. Keep hugging those inner thighs in a little bit to stay stable through the hips and pelvis. And then inhale, neutralize the spine. Keep reaching the left arm up and then drop it back to your sacrum. Hook the right arm to the outside of the left leg. Take your twist. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, release. Let the hip shift back and then tuck that left knee back. So go ahead and make your way back to your downward facing dog. You can set your prop aside. From your down dog, pedal the feet out a couple times. Your next breath in, send your right leg straight up and back. Keep anchoring into your left heel, anchoring into both hands, melting your heart. Fan out those right toes, big breath in. Exhale, knee to nose, let your weight shift forward. Round the spine a little bit, and then step through. Check in that the right ankle and the right knee are pretty well stacked. Pin the right hip back a little bit, draw the heart forward. Maybe come up to fingertips for a few breaths here. Just finding your way into this lunge. We're going to take this into our twist. So the left fingertips are going to stay and the right arm's going to float up. Maybe hug the belly in a little bit and help you deepen the twist. Start to feel your right hip press back a little bit. Get longer hip to armpit, and then reach your right arm over your right ear to the front of your mat or beyond the front of your mat. Big hug into the inner thighs, draw the belly in, and come up to an open arm twist. So left arm reaching forward, right arm reaching back. Drop your shoulders a little bit, lift your heart. As you exhale, drop it back into that floor lunge. And then right hand to the earth. Step your right foot back into a high plank, or maybe drop your knees. As you exhale, we're going to lower all the way to our bellies, all the way onto the mat. Extending long through both legs. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, release. Forehead to touch. With the breath, inhale again. Exhale, release. Good, let's come up a third time. Inhale. This time take a little peek over the right shoulder. Maybe pull that left shoulder forward a little bit. Inhale back to center. Exhale, a little peek to the left. Pull that right shoulder forward a little bit. Inhale, center. Exhale, release. Press yourself up to knees or all the way back to downward facing dog. Reconnecting with the breath. So from your down dog, we're going to inhale and float that left leg high. Fan out those toes, but anchor as much as you can through that right heel. Melt the heart. Lengthen, lengthen, armpit to hip, hip to armpit. Big breath in, and then exhale, knee to nose. Arch the spine, pull the belly in, and step through. Find your alignment, knee to ankle. Strong back leg. You can always stagger this pose a little bit more, walking your right foot wider. We're going to stay for a few breaths. Maybe come up to fingertips if you can. Get really strong in that back leg. Find some space on this left side, so pinning that left hip back. And then we'll find our way to that twist. So the right fingertips stay down, left arm floats up. Heart is open, back leg stays strong. We'll start to pull that left hip back a little bit and then reach the left arm forward. Bicep over the ear. Big hug into the inner thighs, and then we're going to come up to our twisted lunge. Right arm reaching forward, left arm reaching back. Draw the belly in, twist, pull those right ribs towards your left thigh. Good, and then we're coming back to the earth in our twist. And then exhale, left hand comes down. Step your left foot back, high plank or knees. We're going to exhale to low plank or all the way to the belly. Finding your way to cobra or maybe up dog. Meeting back and downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. So from your downward facing dog, bend your knees a lot, float your heels, and walk your feet all the way to your hands, Uttanasana, forward fold. As you inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, fold right back in. A couple breaths here, let it go. Maybe bend the knees a little bit, dangle the head. Your next inhale, rise to stand. Sweep the arms out and up. Reach up. Exhale, fold right back through, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, fold through. Last time, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Rise to stand. Reach the arms out and up. Exhale this time, hands through heart, and sit in chair pose, Utkatasana. So drop low in your chair. Pretend that block or that prop is still between the thighs and give it a squeeze. Let the weight settle back into the heels. Soften your face, steady the breath. Let your shoulders release away from the ears. Stay strong through the hands, pressing the hands together. Feeling the shoulder blades wrap onto your back. So from your chair, we're going to take the left hand and bring it between the thighs, kind of pinning it there with our knees. And then the right arm's going to float up and slightly back, taking a nice open twist here. A couple breaths. Good. So stay there. Feel that that left hand touch that right thigh or right knee. Feel the right foot take more weight. Come off your left heel. So we're going to step our left foot back into our twisted lunge. So take your time, step that left foot back, keeping the left hand on the inside of the right leg. Deepen your twist. And you can choose to stay or maybe slide that left hand down to your right ankle. Deepen your twist. Big hug into the inner thighs. Then slide that left hand back up to the right knee or right thigh. Look down at your feet. We're going to step that left foot forward again, taking our twisted chair. Pin your hand between your knees. As you inhale, both arms sweep up. As you exhale, forward fold. So take a couple breaths here. Maybe shake the head yes, shake the head no. Next inhale, rise to stand, sweep the arms. As you exhale, hands through heart, chair pose. Bow the head, hands stay at heart. We'll hug into those inner thighs. Find a place to settle here. You can close your eyes if that helps. The low belly pull up and in. We're going to take that right hand between the knees, pin it between the knees, and then the left arm opens up wide. Little twist here. We're going to keep that right hand on the left leg. Start to shift our weight into our left foot, roll off the right heel. Pull the low belly in for support, be okay with the wobbling. And maybe falling out of the pose, and then we'll step that right foot back. Again, take it in stages if you need to. Press the leg into the hand, the hand back into the leg, and then maybe deepen that twist, slide your right hand down to your left ankle. Strong back leg. Or slide that right hand back up. Take your gaze to your feet, your left foot, and then we'll step that right foot forward. Pin the hand, twist, inhale, both arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Let it go, let it go. Shake the head, bend the knees, just draping over the thighs. So as you inhale, find a halfway lift, come up to fingertips. Bend the knees a lot, and then step one foot back at a time to high plank. Really plant those hands, spread the fingers, roll forward on the toes, drop knees, chest, chin, or low plank. Belly to cobra or right through to up dog. And then back to downward facing dog. As you inhale, float your right leg high, bend your right knee, stack your right hip on your left hip, open it up. Melt your heart, press into the hands. Big breath in here, and then we're going to take that right foot and step it all the way forward, just to the inside of our right thumb. Little wider base. Back heel's going to turn down, and maybe even hop your left foot wide. Preparing for warrior one. Arms float up. So heart is open, maybe arms a bit wider, dropping into that right knee. Any amount, pinning that right hip back a little bit. I'm just going to adjust my stance here. So we're going to take this into a twist. We'll drop the right hand to the right hip, just to kind of anchor it there, and maybe even pull the right hip back a little bit. Reach through your left fingertips. Get longer through this whole left side, big breath in, and then as you exhale, take that twist, come down and across with your left hand. So we're going to kind of pin the right knee or right thigh to the outside of our left forearm. Right shoulder rolls open a little bit more, take a peek to the right. So stay strong in that back leg. Use your right hand to pull the right hip back a little bit, and then maybe float that right arm up. As you inhale, come back to your warrior one. As you exhale, release the hands. Step back to flow through, high plank to low, or knees, chest, chin, or maybe just meet us in downward facing dog. So from down dog, inhale, float your left leg up high. We're going to bend, twist, and open on the left side. And then we'll look forward, step that left foot forward and a little bit wide. Back heel turns down and maybe hops wide, coming up for warrior one. We'll settle into that warrior one, dropping into the front knee, pulling the whole left side back as much as you can, the right side forward, maybe arms a little wider, open your heart. And then coming into that twist, the left hand will anchor the left hip and maybe even guide it back a little bit. Right side gets long, reach up through the right fingertips, and then down and across with the right arm. Make that connection, left leg with the right arm. As you do that, find that leverage. Maybe you can tuck the right chest forward, kind of pull it through. Left hand is anchoring the left hip. Maybe float the left arm up. The back leg is strong, feet are grounded. As you inhale, back to warrior one, and then exhale, release. Again, if you'd like to step back and flow through, step back and flow through. Otherwise, meet us in down dog, and then take your child's pose. So one more full breath in, full breath out in child's pose. And then as you inhale again, begin to shift the weight to hands and knees. We're going to start to step our feet wide to the outside of our right hand and then the outside of our left hand. And then maybe heel toe your feet even wider than that. Bend the knees a little bit and then bow in. Take your wide-legged forward fold. Release your head. So as you inhale, come to a halfway lift here. You could even reach for that prop if you want to use it. Place that prop right underneath your nose in your halfway lift, and then place the left hand on it. Or if you're not using a prop, just place the left hand right on the floor, but come up to fingertips. So we're having a little bend to the knees. We're going to take our twist to the right, but make sure that you keep that right hip pressing back in space as you twist. So right arm's going to float up. Feel your spine get long, your heart and crown draw forward. And as you exhale, release your right hand. Maybe just switch out your left hand with your right hand, and then left arm floats up. Get long through the spine, heart and crown reach forward. A little bend to the knees. As you exhale, release the left hand. Go ahead and set your prop aside, all the way back into your wide-legged forward fold. Let the head go. And so as you inhale again, halfway lift, and we're going to start to walk our feet in towards one another. So they're really close to touching, if not touching. And then we're going to bend the knees and start to sit low in our squat. So moving into our side crow, or maybe just moving towards a side crow. So in our low squat, we're going to tuck our left arm between the thighs. We'll start with a little twist here in our squat. We'll pin the arm between our thighs, get some stability there, help us pull up and in, so maybe those left fingertips graze the floor, and then the right arm floats up. Take a peek to the right. So stay here for a breath or two longer, or maybe start to make your way into your arm balance. So if you want to come into the side crow arm balance, the right hand's going to drop to the outside of your right leg, maybe even slightly behind the hip. Left arm's going to tuck to the outside of the right leg too. So try to keep the knees sort of pinned like they're magnets. As much as you can twist the upper body beyond the right thigh, that will help. We're going to tuck both elbows into that right thigh, the outside of the right thigh. Both hands are planted on the earth. Fingers are spread. And as we create this shelf with our triceps for the outside of our right leg, we'll let the weight shift forward, drawing our heart beyond our fingertips. Walk your toes away, and again, keeping the knees pinned, float your toes off the ground. Bend a couple breaths here. When you're ready, come back into your squat, and then we'll straighten the legs, finding your forward fold for a couple breaths. So maybe pedal the feet out a couple times. Just kind of shimmying out the hips. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back into that squat. So you'll lift the heels and drop in. This time we're going to slip the right arm between the thighs, pin it. Fingertips might graze the floor as we open up to the left. Start to feel your right ribs pull towards the left a little bit. And maybe again, stay or start to drop in. So left hand's going to drop to the mat. Right arm's going to come to the outside. Again, those elbows are going to kind of lock right into the outside of the left leg. We start to create a shelf for our left leg with our triceps. And then let the weight shift. Draw your heart forward, walk your toes away, Keep those knees pinned, pull the feet up. Keep your head lifted and looking forward a little bit. You can play. Kick that bottom leg forward, right leg back. Then come on back. Come back to your squat, or maybe just come back to your forward fold, or if you really, really want it, come back into a child's pose. Whatever will help you reconnect with your breath a little bit. And then we'll all meet in an easy seat. So seated on our sit bones, legs just gently crossed in front. And sit up nice and tall, maybe rock a little bit and just kind of feel out the seat. Close your eyes. Start to make some circles with the torso, whichever way you want to go. Left, right, right, left. And start to go the opposite way. Maybe closing your eyes if you're not there already. And just starting to find an easy way to lengthen the breath and connect the breath with the motion, with the movement of the body. Okay, go the opposite way. Slow the breath down a little bit, and in turn, slow these circles down a little bit. Just a few more steady breaths here. And just matching the length of these circles with the length of your breath. And finding your way back to center, back to stillness. Eyes remain closed, hands resting on your lap. And just breathing easy here. When you feel ready, open your eyes. And we're going to make our way onto our backs. So come all the way onto your back. And when you get there, give your knees a little hug in. Maybe do a little rock and roll. And then reach for your big toes with your peace fingers. Finding your way into happy baby pose. And again, maybe rock and roll a little bit here in happy baby. And then release your feet to the mat. Plant your feet on the earth. Let your knees be bent. Let your arms rest at your sides. And just take a moment here. Completely fill the belly. And then exhale, empty out the belly. Maybe allow your eyes to close. So just preparing here for a few moments in a Shavasana, final resting pose. So if you want to get up and turn the lights down, or maybe add some socks or a sweatshirt, get yourself comfy, cozy. And then we'll extend the legs long on the mat. Let the legs be wide, let the toes fall out a little bit. Let your arms go wide and turn your palms up. Let the face be soft. Get any last kind of wiggle or kind of motion out that makes you feel like you can let go just a little bit more. Even letting the breath be easy and natural. No effort with the breath pattern, no effort in the body. Just coming to stillness and quiet. Finding a sense of ease here. So whenever you feel ready, start to bring some movement back into the body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Take your time. Start to deepen the breath. Eventually making your way onto one side. Resting for a few more breaths on your side. Pressing yourself to find an easy seat. Pressing yourself up, using your hands. Settling in your sit bones, legs gently crossed in front. Allow your eyes to close and your face to remain soft, keeping that sense of ease and quiet in the body. Bringing hands to Anjali Mudra, heart center, bowing head to heart. Finding that light that resides within you, noticing that light. Sending it out to all those in your life who love and support you. And I'm grateful to share my light and my practice with you. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.